I've read quite a few people that complain about the combat in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 being too, let's say, real-time oriented compared to what they actually expected it to be. But my take on it, this is one of the strengths of this game. Actually seeing players, those who actually love playing Souls game, actually playing this game to showcase their skill, but just parrying and some of the toughest bosses, that actually speaks volume of this game actually appealing to those who love action, real-time combat, not just those who are into turn-based games. Now, if you love action RPG games and you play this game and you play more action RPG games than turn-based games, it's going to be a breath of fresh air for sure. And also, developer mentioned they got inspired by Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and after finishing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice a few weeks ago, I felt it even more. But because again, it's a turn-based game as well, you have the moments where before you actually give the enemy a moment to attack, you kind of take a break and then get ready for the moment the enemies attack, where you need to parry, dodge, or jump in order to avoid getting hit. But if you ask me, I would have preferred it was something that can interrupt their attacks in a way that is more passive rather than active, something extra rather than you are kind of forced to do something active in order to block, not instead of what we have right now, but as an addition. There are some ways with the auto death to play with things, but I wanted something more in depth, more options to cause some interruption in between. Kind of like when in Hearthstone, for example, the opponent can play a card, but you can use something like a magic that can interrupt, and it's something passive that can do something without you needing to do anything. You just slot it in, and it can actually interrupt the enemy's attack in some way or another. Now, there's no doubt that lots of inspiration here for Final Fantasy, Persona. The combat is very flashy and exciting, especially when you combine everything with amazing soundtrack. I mean, there's an entire score here. Everything was just original soundtrack. It was just perfectly crafted for this game, and it definitely shows when you play the game. You always kind of get excited because, again, everything is dynamic, and in different bosses, you're going to get different original soundtracks, and some of them are very, very memorable. But overall, the entire score is very appealing. Now, the game does require skill, also crafting your build, and some of the bosses will be challenging, especially if you take them early on. But again, you also have the option to use the reactive combat and parry well, and although you don't have very strong build, you can still win fights by just parrying and basically dealing damage to the enemy by just parrying their attack. This is also a possibility in this game. You can actually do nothing but just parry, and you'll be able in most situations finish the fight just using parry in this game. So basically, not just parry, counterattack. You need to parry all the attacks in order to get the damage done. Aside from that, there are different characters. 5 characters, 3 can participate in a fight. Each one of them has their own skills, their own unique mechanic, and also a large variety of Pictos, which you can turn into Luminas, which are basically passives. Pictos are stats plus passives. Luminas are just the passives, which are tons of them, and you can actually craft a build of your choice that fits your playstyle and create really powerful and fun synergies for your characters.
Dernière chance. En garde. Une danse de feu.
Now, aside from that, each character has their own unique weapon. There's a large set of weapons, each one with their own set of unique passives. These passives are actually designed to synergize with the unique mechanics of each character. Now, I forgot to mention also that the skills are of different categories like support, defense, or offensive. So you can decide to go just glass cannon, or create a tanky build, or create something really unique among the 3 characters they're actually playing to create really something special that really makes you enjoy the combat your own way. There are also element resistances, and you can see shield in this case here that also protects you and can protect enemies as well. Some enemies have higher resistance to certain elements and sometimes lower, so you need to take that into account as well. There's also the gradient attack, which kind of, you can see it as an ultimate attack, which is a bar you can see at the bottom, red, you can actually charge and then you can execute. It's kind of shared between all the characters, but each one can execute their own unique attacks, which you're going to get as you progress with the relationship with each character. One downside, by the way, for me was there are so many passives in this game. Sometimes I wanted to create certain builds, but there wasn't an option to create a certain build, a custom build. I always need to change things manually, and it took some time. So I would say that the game can enjoy some quality of life improvements to make things managing different builds easier and more fun. Although there are ways to sort things like alphabetically or by level, still I think that for a person who really already did his 5th playthrough, this is something that will be very much welcome. And sometimes I was a bit too lazy to just change something and I went with just one thing because there wasn't an option to create custom builds. I would say also same goes to the resource for respecing. I don't know why actually limiting this in many RPG games. Just let us respec whenever we like. It's just annoying. Although in this game you get plenty of by the time we decide to make a change, but some people want to make lots of changes, and because you're going to use certain weapons and there are also scaling for weapons, you need to reset your stats in order to be able to match the weapon scaling to get the most out of it in terms of damage. And this leads eventually for people not experimenting enough with what they can actually do with all the things that are available, because again, if you want to try a certain weapon and it doesn't scale well for your stats, you probably won't use it, especially at the beginning. We don't have a lot of respec resource, and we're just going to skip it altogether, so it doesn't allow you really to enjoy new weapon drops that scales differently compared to the attribute that you invested in initially. And there are lots of more to it, like critical damage, for example, and of course some elemental effects. Like for example, if you deal freeze damage, cold damage, you actually apply slow. If you deal fire damage, you apply damage over time. Now on top of all that, I didn't even mention the variety of enemies, the amazing boss fight. So I remember the first time it actually smashed me. Didn't know how to evade it. Now everything roped together with amazing visual, beautiful sound effects, visual effects, beautiful atmosphere, design of the level itself for the boss fight. I think just top notch. You also have the mechanic for breaking enemy stance, getting into kind of a stagger stance, that again, some synergy you can have with different luminas that you have. You have the mechanics for speed, who plays first, and so on. So many things. This game just has so many things that made combat so rich. Although when you watch gameplay, it doesn't seem like that, but the more you play, the more you discover, the more you actually learn to appreciate everything the developer put together as a whole to create really immersive and fun combat experience in this game. Yes, overall the combat in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 I think is among the best we've seen in this genre when it comes to turn-based games. I would say hybrid, those who actually employ both. I also think this is a great strength for this game, and why it has such a great appeal for those who love action RPG games and those who love turn-based RPG games. So I think it works both ways. Those who love turn-based games will find this a fun game, and those who love action RPG games will find this game fun as well. So I think this is why this game is such a great appeal, and it also feels refreshing for both. There will always be those who will criticize that. They don't really care about anything real time. They just want to chill, shoot things in their own time, don't want to rush it, don't want to time anything. This can actually be annoying some players for sure. But I'm saying it brings something new and fresh that me as a player who actually love both. But I love turn-based game, I love action games. I'm more leaning to action games. But for me it was really a breath of fresh air. And this is something that should be appreciated. But now I want to hear your thoughts about the combat in the comment section below. What you didn't like, what you like, what you think can be improved. Let's discuss it there. Thanks for watching.